Hi everyone, my name is Jasmin Graham and I work at Moat Marine Lab and Aquarium. I am a marine biologist and currently I am serving as the project coordinator for the Marine Science Laboratory Alliance Center of Excellence at Moat Marine Lab, which is geared towards recruiting, supporting, and retaining minority students in marine science. I first got interested in marine biology when I was little, and I spent a lot of time going to the beach and fishing with my dad, and I really just loved being outside and being in the water, and I was always very interested by all of the animals and all the plants that lived in the ocean. And then later, as I got older, I realized that I could do that as a career, which was really exciting to me. The thing I love most about my job is that I get to do so many different things every day. So sometimes I will get to be out in the field conducting research, out on boats trying to catch sawfish, which is the animal that my research focuses on, which is a type of ray. And I do a lot of work with sharks and rays and getting out on the water and getting to catch them and interact with them in the wild is really exciting. But also I get to spend a lot of time working with students in the education department at Moat Marine Lab. And that brings me a lot of joy as well because I get to talk to people that hopefully one day will be following in my footsteps and will go on to become marine biologists or marine scientists. And that's really exciting to me. I also get to spend a lot of time doing research, research about minority students in marine science, and figuring out ways that I can help students that are coming behind me overcome some of the obstacles that I faced becoming a marine scientist, and that brings me a lot of joy as well. I also really like talking to the public about my research, getting people excited, explaining to people what a sawfish is, that it's critically endangered, why it needs protection, what they can do to help, and really just getting people excited about being involved in marine conservation of this really important species that we have here in Florida. So overall, I just really love the variety that I have in my job. Some days I'm out in the field, some days I'm working with kids and young adults. Some days I'm in my office working on the computer. Some days I'm doing coding, trying to solve problems. Some days I'm writing papers to publish. Some days I'm writing articles for magazines, for science communication. And I just feel like I have so many different jobs that are kind of encompassed in this one job of being a marine biologist. What were your educational experiences and requirements? So I went to college at the College of Charleston in South Carolina, where I received my bachelor's degree in marine science. And after college, I decided that I wanted to get more education. So I went on to get a master's degree in biology from Florida State University. As far as experiences go, I did a lot of research experiences as an undergraduate student. I did a bachelor's essay, which focused on the evolution of hammerhead sharks. And I did that all throughout my undergrad, working on that project, working in the lab, CT scanning sharks, doing digital segmentation, which is basically like dissecting virtually on the computer. And so I learned a lot of different techniques for molecular biology and how to extract DNA from shark tissue and things like that. I also did a couple of other experiences that weren't quite so intensive that I did for one semester just to kind of try things out. I think it's really important to try as many things as you can to figure out what you really like, because there are so many different aspects of marine science and marine biology that you can participate in, and not all of them are for everybody. And so I think that trying as many things as you have the opportunity to do is really important. So I did some bioinformatics work, which is more like a mixing of computer science and marine science, and that was okay, but it didn't really excite me that much. I did that for a semester and a half. I also worked with a professor in my department at College of Charleston looking at marine microplastics in sand on shorelines of beaches. And that was an interesting project, but it involved a lot of microscope work and sitting in a dark room looking for plastics under blacklight. And I didn't enjoy that as much. So I did that for a semester. I also worked with marine mammal stranding in their necropsy lab, and that was really interesting. And I got to learn a lot about marine mammals, but I realized that I didn't have the stomach to dissect dead marine mammals, and that kind of made me sick to my stomach. Sometimes they smelled really bad. So that was something that was really important that I learned about myself. I also did work at the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center, looking at water chemistry, looking at coastal acidification and the process of acidification, specifically in salt marshes and the Road River and its tributaries. And that was where I learned that I really liked being on boats. So I did a lot of field work on boats, collecting water samples. So I learned that although I didn't really like the chemistry side of it as much, or the plankton identification and plankton counting, because again, it involved microscopes, and I still didn't like microscopes. But I did find out that I loved field work and I loved being out on the boat. So I knew from all those experiences that I was really interested in sharks and rays and that I really liked being out in the field. So I decided when I went to graduate school to do a project that focused on the ecology, and that was the ecology of sharks and rays, and that was field based. So I went on to do a project with sawfish because I was also interested in conservation. That was an aspect of the marine mammal stranding and microplastics that I realized that I liked. So from all those experiences, I figured out what I really wanted to do. And so then I went on to do that, and I haven't looked back. How can scholars enter this field? I definitely would suggest you going to aquariums, volunteering if you can, trying to get internships, um, going to college, studying some science, even if it isn't marine science. You can study a more broad science, and then pretty much all sciences could be applied to the marine sciences. So we have marine geologists, we have marine chemists, we have physical oceanographers that use a lot of physics to study the ocean. So you really can do a lot of different things, even math. There's a lot of mathematicians that are involved in calculating fish stocks, how many fish we have in the population, how many can we take out with fishing without disrupting things. That involves a lot of math. So there's a lot of aspects of marine science that you can get involved in. I recommend you trying as many as you can, possibly going to college and taking some classes, seeing how you like it. Really, it's one of those things that you have to try it to see if you like it. And so my final thoughts are: try everything that you can, see what speaks to you. Life is too long for you to be doing something that you don't want to do. And just making sure that you have a passion for it and that you're in it for the right reasons. Those would be my suggestions if you're thinking about becoming a marine scientist. And if you do, you are lucky because it's a really great field. And I hope that those of you that are thinking about becoming marine scientists pursue that as a career and you love it as much as I do. Thanks. Bye.